Here we are, another episode of the Smoking Section Podcast, and we have here again. Again, we're going across the pond again. But he's still here. He's still in Nashville. His name is Gareth. If you listened to it last week, then you've learned a lot about him. But we're gonna dive a little deeper this week. So, buddy, I'm so amazed at the risk you're taking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, do you deal with the fear every day? Like,
Yeah, of
is the fear
course.
do you like when you how do you overcome the fear of being here every day? Your mom is thousands of miles away, your family is thousands of miles away, and 6 hours ahead,
Yeah.
and you have your support system here, but like obviously there's no better support system than your family.
Yeah.
So, but how do you deal with the fear of being here pretty much by yourself?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I said before, I do have my team here, which helps me a lot and gives me. I think if I was here by myself completely and like
Yeah.
not knowing anyone, that would be like I probably couldn't do that. But I video call my mom probably two, three times a day at least. And also, like my mom, 6 hour time difference is not great, but she also doesn't mind if I need to call her. She doesn't care what time it is or what if she's in bed sleeping. She does not mind. She says that she'll always answer. So I feel in a way that that's helps me a lot. That I can always call her no matter what and see her face for a video call. And as I said before on the last episode, that I also they come over here a lot to see me and I see them a lot. So it isn't like I'm not seeing them for a year plus or anything like that. But I think so far I'm surprised how I'm actually like managing it pretty well because a few years ago my anxiety was pretty bad. So if it was a few years ago when I tried to do this, I probably couldn't do it.
Right.
But I feel like I'm in a lot more better place right now, and I'm just happy to be here and doing what I love.
How did you overcome the anxiety? Because
I think it
we've
was
all gone
just
through it.
yeah, I think it was also my family helped a lot, my mum especially.
Mhm.
Um, and like my mum would just anytime that I would ever like have any problems, I'd just come to her and she would help me.
Mhm.
I never went through like any therapy or nothing like that. It was more just like dealing with myself and my family helping me. And it's one of those things where I just like felt like the more that I got out of the house and just like doing more music stuff like this, my mind was occupied by something else. Because before that, I was playing bar gigs for 10 years, as I said before. But
Right.
um, during the week, when I wasn't after I'd left school, like my Monday to Friday, I was like, just sitting there at the house doing nothing, and my mind was like free to like think of all these bad things.
Right.
So it was like I feel now that I'm more of like a busier lifestyle and just that I'm more outgoing. It's helped me a lot. So I think that's one of the reasons why it helped me get over that.
So you don't, so okay, so it sounds like you don't give yourself the opportunity to just sit in quietness and just try to appreciate the moments that you have accomplished.
Yeah, I mean, I do get sometimes, but recently I haven't got much time to do that. So that's why I also think it's a bad thing because I need time to like just like sit back and like appreciate how like crazy the past like year and a half's been. I
Right.
feel like I've got some moments where I've got time to do that, but not as much as I would like. But I feel now that I'm over here, even now when I do have more time on my hands, those thoughts and like those anxiety things don't come but really as much as they used to.
Right.
So they don't. I think it's kind of something where as I've got older, I've got a just better way of like dealing with it. Um, but definitely something I want to do more of is just like appreciating all the little things and how crazy things have been.
Do you think here's a question for you, and I never asked anyone this, and because I've dealt with anxiety as well. But do you think anxiety has to do with happiness?
I feel like to be fair, if I got like a real like my anxiety was really bad, it would definitely affect my mood. So it would. Um, a lot of mine would be short lived. Like I would go into like the odd mood swings. Doesn't happen as much now as it used to, obviously, but I definitely feel like anxiety did affect my happiness. Not like I wasn't like dark, like really bad.
Right.
I wasn't like where I couldn't leave my house or like I
Right.
wasn't like that. But I think in some shape or form, in my personal experience, I feel like it did affect me a bit, and my like mood and no happiness, obviously.
Right. Because in my life, it was more so just a stress.
Yeah. Oh
When
yeah, I still be stressed to be fair.
yeah,
But my stress is all music focused, which is a good stress to have.
yeah,
Um, I think like my stress wasn't on like stupid stuff. It was like I'm stressed how the show's going to go, which I think that's a normal thing to have.
yeah. When you're an
Um,
artist, absolutely.
yeah, I feel like before when I was like younger, I was stressing over like things didn't need to be stressed over, but I feel like now it's a valid stressful situation, but it's also come when you get over that stressful event and you think that it makes it all worth it whenever things work out the way that they do work out, and I feel like it's just I said before it's a good stress, so I'm not worried about that.
So what's something when you left and had that conversation with your mom and your dad? What's something that they said to you that has stuck with you
In terms
throughout
of like just like like anxiety and stuff.
anxiety, advice, everything? Like what's something encouraging that they have said to you that has stuck with you to continue on and to help and actually helped you overcome your anxiety?
Yeah, I feel like mum was a lot more on the anxiety because me and dad don't have that kind of deep conversations. We just chat about football and sports and stuff. Me and mum are on like the more emotional connection, but I
Right.
think mum just always like I know it's a stupid thing to say to someone who's got anxiety, but she'd always tell me, "Don't worry," and all. And I'm always here for you, and I'll always be here for you, and that kind of gives me some comfort. And um, she always just tells me that it'll go away, like that it will pass and stuff like that, which always gives me hope. And I think that's obviously for some people that's not the same response that they want to hear.
Mhm.
But for me, that kind of helped me, like reassurance and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I think it's just as simple as just having the support from mum and her always been there for me, just kind of helped me overcome it.
Your
I
mom,
wouldn't say obviously that I've overcome it, but I like managed it.
you've managed it.
Yeah,
You've
yeah.
managed it.
I feel like it's one of those things where you'll never fully recover. It's not like
Right.
but I feel like it's a thing where you can deal with where it doesn't affect your daily life. So
Yeah. I mean, because there's always a trigger,
yeah,
where something can just you can't control
yeah.
it and then something will
For
happen.
yeah, for me, it's usually a stressful event.
Yeah.
Um, so it is like if it's obviously a big event in my life coming up, I'll be stressed and I'll feel weird until that event passes. But it'll still not be as bad as it was when I was like a teenager. Um, so it wouldn't be.
So let's go back to your music here and when you got into music and you started writing, right?
Yeah.
Who are you writing for? Like who like if the crowd are you writing for yourself? Like are you writing are you writing for therapy or are you right? You know what I mean? Or like are you
I'm
writing
actually,
for someone else?
I'm no, I'm actually not. So I think it's a mixture of I'm writing for the fans and the people that can relate to the music, but
Mhm.
also that I can relate to, and they can also learn a bit more about me. So I feel like the first EP that I dropped last year, "Changing Seasons," was the title track. I feel like all those songs. So I didn't actually start writing songs at all until March of last year. And that project that I put out in October of 5 songs, they were all wrote by like March and April. So it was my first like writes ever. So I was very inexperienced, but I also wrote with very good co-writers. But those that opening EP was a basically an introductory into who I am as a person and letting people know who I am. But also the songs that we have on those tracks are like people can relate to them and really feel the emotion that I felt when I wrote it. On that EP, I have a song about like anxiety and mental health and stuff. I've also got a song about my granddad passing. I've got a song about being my own worst enemy. So I have, and just about girdles and different experiences. So it's kind of like the 5 songs really showed who I was. So that's always what we wanted to do with our first project. We wanted to make sure it was like basically my Wikipedia. So it was like people knew who I was.
Uh, that's crazy. It's have you read your own Wikipedia page yet?
I haven't got one actually, to be fair.
No?
Actually, I was saying to my manager, just get me a Wikipedia page so we can just like do everything out there. So we can.
I feel like people feel accomplished when they have their own Wikipedia page.
Yeah, that's my I made it moment when I get a
Yeah.
Wikipedia page. So it is. Yeah. Look, my mom Wikipedia.
Put me on Wikipedia. You know
Yeah,
what? I might create my own Wikipedia page now.
I hear you can do that, but if I done that there, then I'd probably just lie to make myself better looking.
I would probably, yeah, I'd lie. I
Yeah,
would do some type of AI like whole.
yeah. I put in like Gareth, some like 6'7", freaking. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
6'3", so
I put it. Marcus was an NFL player, retired NFL player from back in the day. Never started, but he was on the B team on the
yeah,
practice squad.
yeah. No, fuck.
Oh man,
Wikipedia page.
so who would you? You're still new. You're still emerging. So my question is, have you found your sound?
Yeah, I feel like definitely this year and the back half of last year when I started writing more songs end of last year, I feel like we've definitely got nailed down the sound that we want to go for. I mean, obviously, as I said before, didn't write until March last year, my own songs,
Right.
so it was still kind of figuring out what I wanted to know my sound to be like. But I feel like now we've got it dialed in, and a lot of songs we have coming out this year, I'm super proud of and super excited for everyone to hear.
I mean,
Um,
that's a gift. That's a gift to be able in a year and a half to be able to find your sound. Like it sounds like you went through the country music boot camp. Is what it said. Is what it sounds like. 'Cause typically, what you've done in a year and a half, it sounds like it's what people normally do, and it takes people years to do.
Yeah, I mean, people have told me that, and like I always believe that I've been very lucky to branch into songwriting only a year and a half and be able to also work with such brilliant songwriters that I
Mhm.
never thought that I would get to work with, and I feel like I'm definitely a lot more blessed than unfortunately some artists that moved to the city have been so far because I know people have moved here and it's been very rough for them and it takes them longer than other people, but I feel like also everyone's journeys are different than others and everyone's got a different time stamp on when they want to, know when that stuff happens to them. So I just feel like mine's moved quicker than others. Um, and so I just feel very lucky in that sense.
Uh, and correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds like you had an idea before you started writing what you wanted, who you wanted to be as an artist.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm from Ireland, so my goal wasn't to come into this scene and start singing about dirt roads and trucks and beer. Even though well, I know, but I didn't want to do the stereotypical
Right.
like because I feel like if you're an American, that makes a lot more sense. But I
Mhm.
feel like me coming from Ireland, that would just look fake. And I think that's something we always said when I first started out. I didn't want to be as fake, and I wanted to make sure everything was as real as it can be. And I feel like so far the music that I'm putting out there is definitely stuff that I feel to myself is real and reflects who I am and where I come from.
I'm it's for a 25-year-old man, for a 25-year-old, that's very mature to be able to be like, hey, I don't want to be like everybody else. I
Yeah,
don't
that was. I mean, that was always the from my pen to paper in March last year. That was something I always. In the UK, my first ever write was in London, so that was different because I was writing to people that were from the UK, and
right.
the lingo was different, like the vocabulary was different. But when I came to Nashville in April and I started writing with Nashville, I know just in general American writers, I always told them, look, this is what we're going to do, and we're not going to write songs that are really super Americanized, but I want to write songs where people from both sides of the pond can appreciate and relate to those stuff.
So I mean, so basically, I'm gonna call you the Ed Sheeran of country music, pretty much.
That's a bold statement.
we
It is.
can add we can add that one too. We can page.
Hopefully, yeah. Just Gareth's been referred to as the
Yeah,
as the non-ginger
yeah,
country version of Ed Sheeran.
yeah, yeah. Uh, so who would you anyone who's never heard your music before, right?
Yeah.
How would you describe the sound too?
I think my sound, so a lot of my stuff that I've out recently has been like mixed with some folk elements, but all it's very heavy contemporary country, but it's got some folk elements in there, and I think some of the melodies have their Irish twangs to them, if that makes sense. But I feel like my country is not the kind of sound you will get from a typical American country artist.
Right,
Um, but I just think it makes that even more unique, just from being from across the pond, and
right.
I just feel like we need more artists that are from my side of the world. Because the country scene is growing a lot in the UK and Ireland and Europe in general. So there's a lot of artists that are breaking or trying to break from my side of the pond, and I feel like that's something we can all do better is try and get more of our artists out in the country scene.
Yeah,
Uh,
I went to Germany last year for C2C actually.
yeah, I was there this year.
Yeah, I went to Germany last year for it, and you're right. The country music, the American country music is definitely growing, and it definitely has a following. I mean, there are people over there singing songs to singing the words to songs that I don't think I've ever heard.
Yeah,
And I was big fans of the art headliners, and I'm like, and then like they're requesting songs that I'm like I don't think I've ever heard this song before.
yeah,
But you can tell like it's the dedication for that fan base is undeniable,
yeah.
and I'm willing to say that it might be the UK fan base might be more dedicated to country music than actual American country music fans.
I feel like it's just because if you get a country fan from the UK, they're dedicated because they're not surrounded by that music as much as the
Right,
States because the States is like that music's played all over the radios in America, so you're used to listening to that. But I feel like in the UK, up until recently, you sort of have to go out of your way to listen to country music. So it's like you have to go search for it yourself. You weren't going to find it on all like the public radio stations and
right.
TV stuff. So I feel like people that are country fans in the UK are like diehard country fans just because of that.
It's more work. It's
Yeah, it's more you have to literally find it yourself and it doesn't
yeah.
come to you.
Wow. That's insane. I didn't realize that from our standpoint. I didn't realize that you have to actually go looking for it on that
Yeah,
decline, and it's crazy because it's like you have people come over there, like you have Post Malone and
yeah,
Jelly Roll doing a tour over there, and you're like,
yeah.
they're gonna sell out a stadium? What?
Yeah, it's crazy, but it's like I mean, like Morgan Wallen and say
Yeah,
Luke Combs, like they all came a few years ago and they're selling out arenas like instantly. Like literally, Luke Combs came in 2023 and sold out every venue within like a minute, and it's like he could, and they're all like 15,000 cap arenas, and it's like they all sold out in minutes. Like Luke Combs could easily do no stadiums in the UK. So he could. So well, Morgan as well. I mean, Morgan played Hyde Park on July 4th last year in
right.
London. I was there, and I think there was like 60,000 there. So it
That's
was,
insane.
yeah. I mean, obviously Morgan and Luke are probably the two biggest names right now in country.
Right.
It's been that way for a while, but those guys can go over and sell more tickets than some of these pop artists. And
But it's
pop's known as probably the biggest genre in
yeah,
the UK.
yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like it's just insane to me, and that's the dedication because it's like it's not very common for that to be done over in a different country. It's very
Yeah,
common for them to be done here in America because
yeah.
obviously, but it's very common to do 2 nights or 3 nights at a stadium in
Yeah,
America.
I mean, and also it was very common. It's very common for artists that play arenas over here,
Mhm.
but then when they come to the UK and Europe, they would play 3,000, 2,000 cap places like
Right.
theater. Like I mean, I remember seeing Thomas Rhett at like 1,000 cap venue, and that was when he was doing like arenas over here. I've seen Kane Brown in a. I've actually seen Kane Brown just a year of COVID before COVID broke in March. I saw Kane Brown play the same venue in Dublin that I played there a few months ago.
Wow.
Um, and that's why he was still doing like Madison Square Garden and stuff over here. Um, so the good thing is, well, not for Luke Combs and Morgan now because they play arenas and stuff over here, but for other artists that are like massive in the States where you would never like see up close or you're like really like a big massive venue, you get the opportunity back home to see them in like a more intimate setting. So that's the bonus of like playing those shows and going to those shows in the UK and Europe. The only downside is obviously they don't come that often, so it's like you don't.
Right.
It
Right.
isn't like the States where you can see them a lot.
And
But
it's crazy because it's like not only do you get them to see them in a more intimate setting, but some of the songs that are popular over there aren't popular over here, and vice
yeah,
versa.
yeah,
So it's
exactly.
like so you're getting songs that they'll never play live in America because it's not popular in America,
Yeah.
but it's popular over there.
Yeah, it's just two different markets, so it
Yeah,
is completely. And obviously the American market is still obviously it's going to be the biggest, obviously, just because of the size and how many years country music has been going in the States and how popular it has been. But I feel like the UK and Europe is finally catching on to country music getting a lot bigger, which is good for me, especially obviously as an emerging artist. So
right.
I think that's a perfect time for anyone who's pursuing this career, especially in Europe, to like, go for it now.
You're gonna have that on lock when you start blowing up. That's gonna be you're gonna be headlining arenas and stadiums in
That's
the UK.
that's the goal. It's always been the goal.
Yeah. So two more questions here. What's the most country thing about you that no one expects?
The weird thing is, like that is the really weird thing. That I don't have like a real comfort thing. Like I don't own cowboy boots. I don't own a cowboy hat. Um, I don't like go to like ranches. I don't do all this stuff. Um, you know, I my music doesn't. It's not like Americanized. It's
Right.
like not. It's like I'm just like a normal guy, and I don't even dress. I dress like fucking. I dress like a. I don't know how to explain it, but I don't dress like a country artist either. Um, I just love the music, and I'm like I think it's just obviously being from Ireland. I haven't like learned the fashion and the
But
typical mannerisms of an American artist.
but here's the thing. That's I think that that is what makes you country because you're staying true to yourself and you're staying true to your roots
Yeah,
and you're showing your authentic self. So I think that's what makes you country, in my opinion.
but that's one way to look at it. Then I would have never thought of that, but um, yeah, maybe sometime if I stray far, I'll find a cowboy hat. But I think if I do that, people will look at me weirdly.
Might look at your pair of cowboy boots, you know?
Mhm.
And finish this sentence for me. Country music needs more.
Authenticity. Yeah.
I agree. I
Yeah,
agree.
I feel like it needs to kind of come back down from some of the trap stuff and go back to more of like the George Jones, George Strait, Alan Jackson type vibes, and even like obviously the Luke Combs stuff. Like I mean, the sound's different than it was years ago. I get that.
Mhm.
So it is, but I feel like now it's straying even more pop recently.
You know what? I see what you're saying. I think everything becomes full circle, and I think that that's what's happening when you look at guys like Cody Johnson. You look at
Yeah,
guys like um, Zach Top.
yeah,
I think it's slowly coming back around to
yeah.
showing the authentic.
I feel like recently though, yeah, those guys have been doing it, but then there's always like so many more artists that are pushing trap stuff.
Mhm.
Um, which that's fair enough, but don't label it as country. Um, if you want to bring that music out, that's completely fine. But
Right.
just don't have it under as like as country because it's not.
Sound like you sound like a country man to me. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean. Also, on the other hand, what do I know? I'm Irish.
You never know. You never know. But thank you for. I want to thank you today for taking time out of your day.
No worries, man. I appreciate you having me.
Appreciate it. We have to get a beer soon, or even a cigar. If you smoke cigars, we'll have to get a cigar. But thank you for taking time out of your day to sit down and talk with me. This has been a great conversation,
Of course, man. Thank you for having me.
ladies and gentlemen. Gareth, perfect, perfect, sir. Stop.